Welcome to another episode of Opinionated Off Topic. Today we have a special, lovely guest, our first female on the Opinionated podcast. We introduce her. This is Kelly.
No last name?
I was going to let her get into that.
Right.
But, this is Kelly. She's a good friend, a very great person, hardworking person, someone I definitely wanted to get on the podcast. So I'm just glad to have her here. And so we're gonna start it off with how'd you grow up, where'd you grow up, and just kind of give us your background.
Yeah. Oh. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay.
It's on you.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So I grew up in New Braunfels, Texas. A little background on me: I was homeschooled my whole life. My family started homeschooling my older brother when we lived in Pennsylvania. I was really little, then we moved down here and just kind of kept going with it. So all the way through high school, I was homeschooled, which was a really cool experience for me. I played all sorts of sports. I danced for 12 years. I did basketball, played select softball, did soccer, and then once I got into high school, I kind of narrowed it down a bit and I started running track, and I played just soccer, and then I did cross country a little bit, which wasn't my favorite, but
Nice.
Is running anybody?
So just an athlete, huh? That's what it sounds like. Just
I did
an athlete.
a little bit of everything.
No basketball? No.
I did basketball,
okay,
through 8th
gotcha.
grade.
Okay.
Basketball was actually my favorite. I enjoyed that more than soccer. But then I went on and I played soccer and ran track at Texas Lutheran University, which was a really great experience for me. I didn't really think I was going to play in college. I really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you graduate TOU? Sorry to cut you off.
2016.
Do you know Ricky Sullivan?
Yes, I do, actually.
Yeah. Do you know Jordan Tompkins?
I know of him. I'm not
I went to high school with them. Well,
Oh, wow.
Part of my high school with them.
Yeah. TLU, you kind of
like
know
really- it's like real
everybody
small.
there. It's super
Yeah.
small. Yeah, you basically, even if you're like, I never talked to that person, I know exactly who they are. Like, we probably follow each other on social media. Like, that's the kind of school it is, but it's fun. It was a cool experience for me because I improved so much in really both sports.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot faster and in track, and then in soccer, I really just got better there too. So I really had a big role in the team, and it was fun for me. I enjoyed it a lot. And then after college, I actually went on to play semi-pro for the first women's semi-professional soccer team in San Antonio.
Nice.
San Antonio Athenians. So
How was that?
it was fun. It was a really cool experience. It was fun to play with players from all different kinds of, really from all over the world, but even, I had a couple teammates that were in their 30s and from Canada. Then I had some from like Honduras and Mexico, and just all different divisions too. We could have collegiate athletes as well. So we had Division I athletes, and it was just really competitive and fun to play with like an entire group of girls that were super competitive.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
You're from Pennsylvania originally?
Originally, yeah.
How old were you when you moved here?
Like 4.
4? Oh, so
Yeah.
you don't remember
No,
much of it. Because I was going to ask you, was it a culture shock moving here? Then I was going to say, was it a culture shock playing with those, like, people from Honduras and all that? Like, learning just what they eat, how they speak? And
a little bit. I wouldn't say they kind of set the culture for the team. There were only like a few of them, but it was really interesting to see even other teams we would play. The style of play is just so different. We played a couple teams from Mexico, and they're just much more skilled. And then they're not aggressive until you like really
aggressive
piss
to
them
them.
off.
Yeah.
And then they like go at it, but super quick. We played some amazing teams. But yeah, it was a fun experience. It was a challenging experience. It was something I did. So I did it, I think that was 2017, and then the club took a year off, and then we picked back up in 2019, and then last year, and they actually picked back up again. But I've been focusing more this year on just kind of working on speed actually, and just kind of getting my foot back on the ball because I haven't played in over a year, and it's in super far San Antonio, and I'm like, I'm not doing any more driving.
Like
Yeah.
tours, like Kerrville area or past that?
It's like past UTSA. It's like in San Antonio, but it's like really far out. So I'm like, I can't. We had practices when I played in 2 years ago. They were closer to where I lived, which is really nice. But we practiced 6 days a week, and from like 6 to 10 p.m. And there was no off days. And then you're doing volunteer work and you're doing things in the community, which is all awesome stuff. But it just takes a lot of time.
So was it more like full time when you were doing it? Like, did that take up all your time, or were you doing other things?
I was still working and having a job too, and I was starting up a collegiate coaching job at the time. I actually went back and coached at TLU. So.
Well, I feel like you kind of have to work because I feel like the pay for semis
you're
is
not.
good.
Well, the thing is, we actually didn't even get paid because we had declared amateur because we had college players. We couldn't get paid because of their season, and we had to follow NCAA rules.
So at that point, you're just playing for fun.
You're just playing for fun. Yeah, you're playing really competitive for fun. So eventually, I think their goal was we're gonna go completely professional and be able to pay our players out. But it worked out. I mean, I was like, all right. It'd be cool if you got paid, but it probably is not always much anyways. So
I mean, it's just extra money.
It's just extra money.
More than what you had before.
Exactly.
What position did you play in soccer?
I played. So I played center mid through college, like a holding mid, and then 2019, I started playing more forward up top, and I actually really enjoy that now. And I'm playing like just co-ed right now indoor, and I tend to go up top, and I'm like, I used to be that player that would always drop back and help out defensively, and now I'm like just selfish. I'm like, go up top.
Yeah, just kind of chill.
Yeah. And I really enjoy the runs of a forward. Like I was that type that a real high pressure player, so I would like playing a lot of those diagonal runs and then like cutting in and receiving the ball and like running onto it. There's some players that like to
I know what you're talking about.
It's a foreign language for me,
yeah,
so
sorry.
I was like, no, you're good. I was like, geez.
But there's players
I was here
that
running, I'm out.
Yeah, like running, just a bunch of running. It's like running routes in a way. But there's some players that sit up top and are really good at receiving the ball and turning on the defender. And I was more like, all right, let me see the gaps and the holes and then run onto it and have a player, like a good center mid, see me and feed me the ball through. But so that's something kind of different. But those are mostly the two positions that I played. So
see, I'm just barely getting into soccer. Like I know teams and players and all that. I know stuff that you do. I just don't know like positions and what they do. Yeah,
it's a challenging sport to get into, especially if you've never played it before. And if you're watching on TV, I totally get when people are like, "Oh, it's so boring." It can be. Like you have to
it's not boring to me.
What's that?
It's not boring to me.
It's not boring. I think because people like high scoring games and very just like lots of action, and there is a lot of action. People don't want to sit and watch it, and I think because it's from such an aerial point of view.
Well, I think in America we're like a microwave society. We want everything now.
Instant.
That's why.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I mean, that's why we kind of aren't good at soccer, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
and we just have a lot of sports here too.
That too.
We do, yeah. Well, much more. There's just so much more access to sports, and soccer. It's like here's a ball in other countries, and they start playing, and for the love of it. And,
like basketball and soccer are probably the two biggest, or are the two biggest sports
national
in all
or worldwide
other countries.
Yeah.
But ours is like basketball for girls. At least it's probably like basketball, volleyball.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's fun. I mean, I think watching on TV takes a lot of time, and you kind of have to like, all right, let me invest in a game. You turn it on unless it's like super exciting or you know something. The World Cup's going on. People are like, nah, I'm not gonna watch it. I don't watch a ton of soccer on TV. Not because I don't like it. It's just not always on.
Not your thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I feel bad saying that because you learn a lot from watching the game, and I do like watching it. It's just I'm not the type that keeps up with a lot of it.
Yeah.
I try to watch it. They just play at weird times.
Yeah, because
They do.
play
That's the
early,
thing.
like
They
4
play
and
early,
5 in the
or they'll
morning.
play,
Or
like,
they play
late in
really
the
late
afternoon.
in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Like midday.
Yeah. Like 3
Yeah.
o'clock. Like
midday.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
What did you run in track? What events did you run in?
I ran the 400, 4x4, occasionally the 200. My coach put me in the 800 sometimes, which was.
So you're fast.
So you were like fast, but had a little mid distance
I
because
had
of cross country. Yeah.
To be honest, I did track because I knew it really helped me with soccer and get in shape for that. So that's kind of why I did it. But then I really fell in love with the sport, and I honestly just love track. Like, I think it's the greatest sport, like, ever. There's just so much pressure on yourself, and you really own up to what you do. You can't hide behind a team. There's so much room for improvement in really any event. And right now, like, I'm working with the coach, and he's helping me a lot, just working on speed. And I'm like, hey, I want to work on my speed and just get faster. And if I go back and play soccer again, I want to be able to have that edge. Mm-hmm. And I was doing a bunch of distance stuff in the fall and kind of like mid-distance things. And he's like, you're not doing, and I would say I was doing speed. And he's like, you're not doing speed. That's still endurance. That's endurance work. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he's been like completely switching my mindset. And he's actually an assistant coach still at TLU, which is cool. And I worked with him a little bit. And so he's been just giving me workouts, and I was doing some running yesterday. Like, he gave me a workout. We do like a speed endurance workout and then like a special endurance workout. And yesterday was just like a speed day. Mm-hmm. I hadn't done something like that in a while. And I was like, oh my goodness, these times, like, I didn't even run these in college really. Like, this is when I was like at my peak. Yeah. Like, I'm doing that now, which is really awesome. Like, 4 or 5 years being out of college, and, you know, it's like, okay, I'm almost 27, and yet I'm running times faster than when I was 20 and 21. Or I'm getting to that point where I'm like, hey, I wonder what I'd be if I timed, you know. Yeah. And this is just from a start. I'm not even like in the blocks or anything. So it's really cool to see how, you know, just working quality, working on acceleration and mechanics, and how that can benefit, you know, an athlete, and how you really can get better from that. And for me, it's encouraging too, as a personal trainer and someone that works with athletes. Like, that's, wow, okay, you know, it really does work. It's kind of like not a special formula, but in a way it is. It's like, hey, do this and you're going to get these results. So.
What's your favorite, what are they called? Well, I guess, what a track event? Well, event. What's your favorite event? Yeah.
Ooh. I would say the 400. 4x4 is fun, has that team aspect, and it's just, you never know what could happen. People come from behind, and
best race to watch.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. It's so much fun to watch. So, and it's one of those things you get so nervous for, because you're like, man, I'm not just affecting myself. Like, I got teammates. Yeah. So, but at the same time, like, you finish and you feel like, all right, you're so motivated. You're like, let's go. Like, yeah. It's awesome. So I would say 4x4, I think, is like the best race. 400. I actually also did javelin my senior year, which was really cool.
Didn't they like ban that though from some events because it was like dangerous? I don't know. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
It's super. I know, like, most high schools don't have it at all.
How's it dangerous?
It's a spear.
It's a spear. Yeah. No, they still have it in college. It's literally like a lightweight.
Well, I know it's a spear, but I was like, how's it?
I just know, like,
I mean, it's no different than throwing a discus.
But it's like throwing a discus. Yeah, but exactly. People are just, I guess, improperly trained. I mean, I don't know. Anything can happen. Maybe
people are out like especially at a meet, you know, and if someone's marking where it's landing, then they aren't paying attention or something. I mean, crazy stuff's happened. So, but they still have it. It's weird. You pick it up and you think it'd be like evenly weighed like throughout, but it's like super awkward. There's like a weight in the middle of it, so it's really light, and then you try and throw it. Nobody can just like go out and throw it. It'll flip crazy. Like, to get it to actually, it takes a lot of technique, but it's super fun. It's like really fun field event.
Didn't we, Albert? Didn't we do discus or shot put in middle school?
And one of our practices, one of our coaches actually got hit in the face with the discus. Oh my goodness! Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Who threw it?
Toby, I think.
It's dangerous.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying. I don't see what the difference is, like, why you would ban javelin when somebody can get seriously injured with a discus.
I think they banned javelin because, or probably not in, I know they have it in college, it's still in college, but a lot of high schools don't have it because it's so dangerous and kids are stupid and probably just,
that's fair.
That's not in high school.
No.
It's like, let me throw this. They have it, I know they had it in like certain meets, because for mine, I had like a homeschool state meet, and they would have it just at that meet. And I threw it in one state one year, but like didn't throw it. It was terrible. Like, it's just because of competitions.
Yeah.
I was like, I just had an arm and I could just like throw it. It like flipped, and it didn't even like, I was like, hey, I won. Cool. But
is it where it sticks or just where it lands?
It has to stick nose down. So if it hits like the back part hits first, then it doesn't count. It doesn't have to stick, but it can slide, but the spear part has to touch the ground first. So.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
I'm just going down the list.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like, I guess like playing sports and things like that, like what made you transition into your career field now? Was there like anything that kind of you're like, oh, that's why I want to go do that? Or like what made you want to become a personal trainer?
I would say, yeah, for sure. In college, I started weightlifting a lot more my junior year, and nothing super heavy, but it really helped me in my soccer, helped me get faster on the track, and seeing that transition personally. And then I took a strength and conditioning class, and that was really the game changer for me. I like fell in love with the whole process of strength and conditioning and what that can do for an athlete, and I just love that environment. So my senior year, I was looking at jobs and possibilities, and I was like, man, maybe I want to go into nutrition and sports nutrition and become a dietitian. And then I actually was looking for jobs and found a job to where it's actually very similar to what I do now. So a personal trainer was hiring on personal trainers to do in-home training and take your equipment to different parks and places wherever the client wants and train them there.
Okay.
And so I was like, all right, let me go interview. Went through a whole interview process, put on a couple workouts, and I ended up getting the job, which was really cool to graduate with the job. And I did that for about a year, and then she decided she wanted to go back to just being herself and not having any other trainers. So it was a real short notice, and I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? Do I want to keep clients, or do I want to go work at a gym? And I never wanted to do that. I've kind of always had a very entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fight over with other personal trainers. Here's someone walks in the door, let's all go
true.
and try and pursue. That's not my style. So I started my own business, and that was in 2017. But I definitely had that background of sports kind of influence, definitely, and seeing my own results and saying, hey, I want to help others do exactly what I've done with myself, because that was kind of fueling my passion.
Gotcha.
Is there a certain age demographic that you prefer working with? Like people who are just getting into weightlifting, or people who are more experienced, or...
I would say, I enjoy working with athletes a lot. So, and especially high school, early college, where there's still a lot of room for improvement, a lot of room for development.
Yeah.
But they aren't know-it-alls yet. And so they really are motivated themselves, because then I can be full energy, with them, and we kind of feed off that energy.
Yeah.
But I've worked with clients as young as 8 years old up to their 70s. So, and I've enjoyed it all. There's all been something enjoyable throughout that part. I enjoy working with young adults and women that are really motivated to lose weight. I enjoy working with even middle-aged people that are just hey, I'm just trying to lose 10 pounds, especially sometimes more of my male clients are more just consistent, and so I enjoy that, and they show up, they put in the work, and they don't make excuses. So I've had definitely a lot that have too, but there's fun parts to every age. I would say though, if I had to pick one, probably just working with the athletes, because it's kind of it's more fun for me.
For sure.
So yeah.
I feel like it's more of a personal level kind of thing. You just connect with them better because
they're more on your age.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can connect with them better. I can have them do more things too. Sometimes I give a simple exercise and I'm oh, they'll be able to do this, and a client's what is this? I can't do this. And I'm all right. So with my athletes, I can incorporate a lot more higher end things, plyometrics, and see the benefits. It's hey, how are you going to test out in your sport? So for me, that's rewarding too, because it's how are they getting better? And then when they get better, I'm yes, it's kind of all right.
Do you work with every sport?
I work with volleyball players. I've worked with soccer players. I've worked with a professional basketball player before. So I've kind of done it all, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
What's your business called? Your company?
Yeah,
Faith Inspired Training Fit Athletics.
Faith Inspired Training Fit Athletics.
Gotcha.
And you do what you did with that one lady, just kind of mobile and going to people's...
Yeah, I'm real mobile. I worked out of a gym for a little bit, which I did enjoy because I had more weights, obviously more things to choose from.
Better access to stuff.
Yeah, more
equipment
access
and
to
stuff.
things.
Yeah.
And the concept and what I wanted behind it was everybody's just going to show up and I could just back to back to back. But so many clients are no, we want you to drive to me. So or they wanted me to drive to
Yeah.
them. So I'm like, okay, so I was paying money for this place and only had so many clients there, and it's like, this isn't worth paying money here, even though it's a facility I can use, and it was worth it at the time, but I'm still going all over the place to different clients. So, and there's a lot more freedom and to be able to do that and just kind of go, and you don't have to pay rent at a place. You know, I still lift and go to a gym, but most of my clients don't need a gym for what they're wanting to do with their goals. And if there's one that really does, I'm like, what access do you have? You figure it out how I can get in. If you can get me into a gym, I'm there. But you know, I've tried the whole, hey, let's just go in and say we're working out together and I'm training you, and I've gotten like busted on that. So it's like that doesn't go over well. They're like, hey,
they don't
you're
like
not
that
a
at
Gold's
all.
trainer.
Yeah, they hate it.
So it's not the best.
Yeah, those corporate gyms really are sticklers about that.
Yeah, they hate
They
it.
really are.
Even if I one time I tried to I was working my brother out, and they got mad because I was working my brother out and showing him stuff, and it's
See, and it's like, I don't know why they can do that, because there's so many people that do go in together, and there's one person that's like, hey, what if you're with a coworker and you're just like, I know a lot about fitness.
Yeah.
I did this, and let me help you out. You don't.
The one gym that actually was good about that was the 24 in Pflugerville before it changed to Cowboy Fitness. Because my coworker was going for his master's in kinesiology. So he knew way more than I did.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, we can do this because you want to do strength training.
Yeah.
And so we'd work out 3 times a week. So I basically got a free trainer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's nice.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did your business slow down once Corona hit? Because you said you've had it since 2017.
2017. So it kind of did a little bit of this because I had it in 2017, trained all that year, and then spring of 2018, or no, spring of 20, I'm like, what year is it? Spring of 2019, I started working part-time at TLU with their track. Wanted to pick something else up. I also, in the midst of all this, I was the soccer director at St. Mary's Hall, which is a private school in San Antonio. And so in the fall, it was only fall months, October through January, I was the middle school head coach over there for the girls team. So that was fun. Got to do all that. Worked with little kids as well in their soccer program. But I wanted a little bit of extra, so I started working at TLU. And then in the summer 2019, they offered me a full-time assistant. So they're like, we know you have a business, but you're gonna have to put it on the back burner. So I was like, yeah, no, that's fine. I really want to do this. I really want to pursue this. So I did. So I was only training part-time all of 2019, and then this past, what is it?
It's
2020. Yeah,
2020.
we're in 2021.
21.
So
Yeah.
2020, I decided it just really wasn't for me. I wanted to go back to doing my business and having that freedom. And I'm like, I am such an entrepreneur, and sitting behind a desk, it just is not my thing, not all day. So even when I'm I have no work to do, and I'm in this cubicle, and I have to recruit. I liked recruiting, but there was too many other things. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna leave, and I want to move to a new town. And so I moved up to Austin. My idea was, told all my old clients, the couple ones I still had, hey, I'm moving to Austin, so I'm not really gonna be training in San Antonio anymore. Didn't have anything here. And then kind of just started from scratch, but I kind of kept them. And I was like, hey, are you going to train? And obviously through Corona, there were months where, you couldn't go anywhere. So I had one client I was consistent with, and I did a couple challenges online, provided workouts, and people signed up and did something like that. But it was, there were moments where I was like, I don't know, it's going to be hard, or are people going to want this? And then I moved up here and got connected a little bit with some people, and it actually just took off. It was really super successful. I got a lot more clients back in San Antonio, but I kept my doors open to that because I'm like, well, it's COVID. I need money. I'm just going to say, hey, I will travel to you and see where it leads. And I was getting clients in Bernie, San Antonio, Austin, Kyle, a little bit everywhere. So I didn't really close anything down and kept that, and would have days where I'd have 13 clients in a day. And
Sheesh.
it was long. It was long, and I'd go everywhere.
Were they hour?
They were 45 minutes, an hour. I had a couple 30-minute clients, but mostly 45 minutes and an hour. So
So would you work out with him? Like you're doing 13 clients, like how does that go for you?
Yeah.
I'll be dead.
I know. No, I'm not like, all right, let's go. This
Yeah.
is like 13 hours of training for me. No, I don't work out with most of my clients.
Okay,
there were a
cool.
few that I would obviously like demonstrate and then do some of the exercises with them. And there's one, like we'd always go for like a mile around or half a mile around. It's not even like a full mile. And so I'd warm up with her. But other than that, not really, no. I'm standing there. Like, I'm like,
exhausted.
no, this is you. Like, unless someone requested that, but no. And some were like groups of, it wasn't like individuals. So some were like duos. I had a family of 5. So it's still, and then that was draining, but
Yeah, I bet.
it was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, it wasn't like I was doing 13 separate sessions a day, but total like 13 clients a day. And it started to get, by the end of the year, like people are sometimes, you know, a lot and very demanding and acted like, well, can you come 5 times a week? Can you do this? I'm like, you want to pay for 5 times a week? And I'd be like all over the place, tell them my schedule. And then they're like, oh, well. And they're like, yeah, I don't even leave the house. I work from home and I do this. And like, oh, I can't do this. And I'm just like, why are you making it so hard on me? Like, I'm trying to work with you, but be more understanding of me too. And then I had some clients, my all-time favorite. They were the family of 5.
Yeah.
They would like, the mom would start watering her plants in the middle of the session and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, so
yeah,
it was just like, it's like you can't even designate this time to like be engaged.
And they'd show up 15 minutes late, like when I'm outside their house.
And I feel like that'll like put you back too. Like if people are late and you got people like in front of you, it's like.
I mean, especially 13 clients.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I do not have time for this. Literally do not have time for this. Or you're my last like client for the day and now I want to get home and you're taking your sweet time. And I always want, like, I'll go extra with my clients. If I'm late, I obviously give them that time. Sometimes I'm like, okay, start warming up. Like, I got someone right after you if I'm going to be late. But I always give them that time. So when they take their sweet time, I want it to be a fulfilling session for them. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, man, you know, have a little bit more respect. And so I had to have those, like, hard conversations several times. But that's just
it's definitely tough when you have clients, like, kind of everywhere, kind of scattered around.
It
is.
And
you got to like plan
probably. You don't want them wasting their money, you know, like.
Well, exactly. They're wasting their money, and that's what I wanted them to understand the most. Is like, this is your time, and you're not going to get out of, especially if they have a certain specific goal. And I try and I start all my clients out with, hey, let's set 3 specific goals. Not like I want to just lose weight or I want to get fit. Like, how do you want to get fit? What do you want to be able to do? How many pounds do you want to lose? Like, what are we shooting for? So if they have these goals and then they're like, oh, I show up late and then I cancel and I don't understand when I cancel 30 minutes beforehand that I lose the session. It's like, yeah, like, hello, I'm driving an hour to you. And then, oh, I forgot to tell you I have this or I'm not home. And it's like, man. But that's every personal trainer that does what I do deals with that. And it's nice to have friends and people that understand that and kind of have that support base of like, man, this is tough, but
you can kind of vent to them.
Exactly, like, and they understand it, and they're like, oh my goodness, and you're like, yes.
Do you ever offer like a free session, like to get them to join, like work out with you? Because I know like a lot of trainers will be like, here's a free session, see how you like it, and then kind of go from there. So do you do that?
I do. I start with an initial assessment, and so that's a free session. It's where I kind of first start off the conversation like, are they genuinely interested in my product and what I provide, or is this just like, hey, I'm shopping? Yeah. So normally if we get to the initial assessment, it's most likely we're going to train, but I still want it to be, hey, I want this to be a good fit for both of us. So let me take you through and see where you're at. So I'll do like a push-up test, upper body core, lower body, really a bunch of different things. And then that's when we set our goals, and we'll do like measurements and all that's free. So if they decide, hey, this is really not for me, then no hard feelings. Like, that's fine. I get that. Tell me up front. Don't commit to it and then be like, oh man, I just don't want to work out. So, and there's a lot of people that do that. But yeah, I don't really there's a lot of people that do that, but I haven't really had that problem yet, but I've heard from other people. So I try, and if they commit to it, even if it's 1 month of sessions, I want them to be committed to it and not be like, hey, I'm trying to sell you on this, and you just said yes because you felt pressured.
And they have to buy like the sessions in bulk, right? Like there's not like because I figured, so like you're guaranteed at least make your money.
Right.
Basically.
The way I do it is they pay up front. I was doing monthly in the fall, but that was, hey, I'm giving you 3 sessions a week, and there was so much pressure. I was traveling a lot and come back and be working on Saturdays, sometimes Sundays, and it's like I gotta have balance too.
Because I feel like they could schedule like it at any time. Like say maybe they book, I don't know, like 8 sessions or something like that, but it's like they can't consistently get, like 1 week they can only do it like maybe once, and then there's like 1 week they can go like 4 times.
Right.
So it's like I feel like they like
hard.
fill it all up. Like
it was a lot of pressure on both the client and me to be like, we got to get all these sessions in.
Yeah.
And then they felt like, oh man, I'm losing money because I'm out of town.
And
so it's nice because it was like, hey, standard, I'm going to get paid, which is hard to even get paid, but on the same date of every month, and trying to tell them, nope, you do owe me money. Now I do it in packs. So it's like, hey, you want to buy an 8-pack, a 10-pack, 12, the money per session decreases the bigger the pack you buy. So that's working now because it's like, hey, I'm going out of town next week. I can only get 2 sessions in or 1 session in. You're not losing any. I'm not losing any besides time, and it's not gonna renew quicker. But that's on me, and that's something I'm willing to take because I'm going on vacation. And same with them. The only way is it hurts in reverse if they're like, hey, I'm out of town for work, or I'm going on vacation. And I'm like, well, shoot, now that's like a week added to when I was going to get paid. But that's something that I'm okay with right now. And so that's something I constantly reevaluate is, hey, do I want to keep with this kind of program, or do I want to switch it up? So,
how long do you plan on being like mobile? Or do you ever plan on getting your own gym, or do you want to be?
There's a lot, like I said earlier, there's a lot of freedom with being mobile. Having your own gym sounds like a sweet deal. It looks cool. But there's just a lot of money loss that goes into it because there's so much you have to pay for. So I think if it got to the point where I was, maybe doing a lot of online work and had just a recurring incredible income and had like 25, 30 people a day that were like, I want your services, and I could do like group classes and provide that, and it was a gym that I would use and it'd have multi-purpose to it, then maybe it'd be worth it. But for now, there's just so much freedom. Like if I move or if anything goes on, I'm not stuck with, hey, well, I'm contracting and using this space over here and I have this lease, and then, business is really slow right now and it's not paying off. So I originally had that vision of, hey, I want to open up a place and this is how I want it. And I think eventually like a small studio would be really cool, but there's actually just a lot more business savvy things you can do with being mobile. And making money and not getting locked in, and there's just a bunch of different ways you can do that. So, and then going online or doing something like that, not having, hey, I'm having to pay this rent on top of the other things I'm doing. So,
I was gonna ask, do you do like instead of actually going to meet the client, if they ask for just like meal plans or workout plans, do you do that as well? Or
yep, I actually have a couple. A girl I was talking to earlier, she's renewing. She's like, hey, I'd like to buy another meal plan for April. So I'm really enjoying this one. Yeah, I do written meal plans and written workout plans. And so I usually do it monthly. So I'll give them like a month of workouts and a month of meal plans and say, hey, I'm accessible. Any questions, ask me. And if I even have done online training, so FaceTime training, it works well if the client wants to do it and it's like, hey, I don't have that kind of money for you to come, or I've trained someone who's like in Chicago and I knew her from college, and so she's like, hey, I just want some guidance, and she would go to her apartment gym and prop me up on FaceTime, cool. And I trained her for like several months and it worked out great for her.
I can see that being the hard part, as finding someone that's motivated to actually follow it.
Yeah, that's
because me personally, I would need somebody there.
To show up. That's just me. Yeah. And that's a lot of people. Like it's very rare that people are like, hey, this is fine. Like I'm ready to go. I want somebody to tell me the workouts, but it can be online and that's good enough for me. But at the same time, it's like, well, this is a pricey thing. It's an investment. And so I want it to be, even if it is online, I'm like, all right, I want it to be worth your time, but you need to understand, like, you can easily be like, hey, I can cancel and I don't have to say that face to face, or, so they have to be just as motivated. And it works when they apply themselves. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Is your like turnover rate high or low? Like, do you lose a lot of people or?
There's kind of brackets that I like to fill people in, and you kind of get that vibe off when you just initially meet somebody, and get to know them, get to know what their career is like. Are they single? Are they married? You know, do they have a family? All those things play into, are they going to be a client that's long-term or short-term? I've had clients buy one package and halfway through, like, they love the sessions, and then they're just kind of everywhere and they have a lot of money and they just ghost me. I've been ghosted by people. I've showed up at their house and they're like, oh, I'm in the Virgin Islands. I'll be back next week. And I'm like, you didn't tell me that? Like, what? Yeah, it's crazy stuff. But then I've had clients that I've had since the beginning, like since I started, even with that other, my other friend who was a trainer. So it's kind of, you kind of know, and you see people that through a pandemic, through all this stuff, and they really want to stick with it. And when they've just simply applied themselves and showed up and done the workouts and on their off days, and when they're, especially if they're like trying to lose weight, I'm like, hey, here's a meal plan, here's this. I'm like, wow, it works. I'm like, yeah, when you listen, it works. Like, that's why I try and tell everyone, like, it's not like it's magic, but it takes a lot of you. It's a bunch of you, it's not just me. And so, you know, that transformation, when they start to see that, it feeds them, and they're like, yeah, now they're like, yeah, I could totally do the workouts on my own, but like you coming up and showing up is part of the process that I enjoy, and that's what motivates me, and that's what I want to keep going. So I like clients like that, because it's like, hey, I want it to always be something that I'm fulfilling, not just like, okay, I'm just like paying you out, like, oh, I'm being nice and let me pay you, and like, yeah, you're helping me work out, but I want it to be, hey, we're both providing each other, like, you're providing me with income, I'm providing you with a service that you actually use and need and benefits you even 2, 3, 4 years down the line.
Yeah, so, like a health thing, like investing in yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. It's an investment, and that's how I see the clients that I've had for a long time see it that way. But I've had turnover, oh my God, this is going to be like a one package and done. And it's fine, because it's like, it's money for the month. So, that's how you have to look at it. Any client that comes in, even if they're not a great client, I'm like, it's a client. So, and there's clients I've turned down and clients I've been like, no, this isn't going to work. But you kind of just, you see if it's a good fit, and then if it's not, even if it's a short-term thing, and I understand they're short-term, like, hey, I'm just trying to lose weight for this, or I'm going here.
Or the summer.
Yeah, for the summer, exactly. And so I get that, and people feel bad almost saying that, and so they want to act like they're long-term, and they think it's better to just not respond. To literally just not respond to me. And I'm like I had someone I was training virtually, and she was getting ready for a wedding, and then 1 week, like, we kind of got off on a week, and I was like, okay, let's pick back up. And I was like, you ready? You're up for renewal? And she's like, okay, what time tomorrow? And she's like, actually, can we cancel tomorrow? And then boom, never heard from her again. And I'm like, hey, checking back in.
That's super frustrating.
It's so frustrating. So frustrating. I'm like, I got up at 4 a.m. every day for you for like 2 months, and to train you online, not even in person. So getting up, which was like better and worse when you think about it. Like, I'm getting up at 4 a.m. to train you, but you're just there on a camera, and I just tell you. And sometimes her Wi-Fi wasn't working, so she'd be like, my Wi-Fi's not working. So I called her and would tell her the workout.
Oh my
and sit on the phone and be like, all right, for an hour. So yeah, that's kind of part of it. Like, that's the nature of it. It's funny. So me and the woman that I originally started training under, she started this business last year. She reached out to me and was like, hey, I'm wanting to start this business where we train personal trainers to really be educated and to know what they're doing, create this master program that they can go through that's going to equip them for the real world, whether they're coming out of high school or coming out of college. So she recruited me and this other girl, and so now it's the 3 of us, and we've started this side business. So I've been doing that on the side, but it's really cool to see, kind of collaborate and see the different issues that we've had and work out the kinks and say, hey, this is what we need, this is what needs to be in this program, this is what we need personal trainers to see, and kind of go from there.
That's really cool, because I feel like personal training is kind of oversaturated, and it's a lot of people that don't actually know what they're doing. Like, when I first started lifting weights, the guy was like, my first, I think, 5 sessions was all technique on weightlifting. And he was like, this is the most important part. And like, I feel like that set up the strong foundation. And most people are just like, oh, you want to get strength, like, go heavy. But like, no, that's not how it is. Like,
you can't just do that.
And I feel like people don't know that. So like, the fact that you do that, actually like helping personal trainers to actually help people, is like super important.
Well, and it's a tough field, because you come out of college or even high school or whatever, you look to apply, and it's like, hey, 2 years of experience. do you have this? And it's like, where have I, especially being an athlete, you're like, I didn't have time to get a job on the side. I didn't have time to get an internship. I was training all the time. I was in season both seasons. So you come out and you're like, man, how am I going to find someone? So it's really cool finding her and her pulling me on and saying, hey, you're a college athlete. I like that. I'm going to train you in my way. And then, you can get certified and do these other things, and we'll do the in-home training. And so now coming off that idea, moving forward, to take these personal trainers that might have, now that they have the degree, maybe they're just really into fitness, and they're like, I want to do this. And it's like, all right, well, let me teach you. There's a business side of it, how to create your LLC, how to do this, working with clients, what kind of client avatar do you want to create, who do you want to target, just all the little things that we wish we knew when we came out as brand new little, puppy dogs, like, all right, I'm ready to go, and not really being ready to go and having to go through these things and still going through these things. I mean, I've learned even creating this program, hey, wow, like this is something I really should apply in my life. Yeah. Keeping a sound business and just what that looks like. So it's a cool thing.
Is that like a program they could buy, or do you have to like seminars for that? Or
so it's a program. So we're kind of doing it a lot of different ways. First thing is it's a program you can buy, and we started out and we keep twisting and changing things, and we're trying to recruit people to where we train them, we mentor them, and it's a very personal experience because we want them to be, we're going to make it very elite where they kind of interview and we say, hey, you're a qualified candidate, not just throwing people through our program and then they're out in the world and they're saying, hey, the fit business trained us. And it's like, well, you're not very good, just because they go through the program. So we're going to really test them out to say, here's someone that went through the program. They're really good. Now we're setting them up with clients. We're setting them up with brands. We're setting them up with these different things.
That's really cool.
And so now they're a mentor, and they will have an opportunity to be a mentor with our fit business to where they can take on people and train them now through the program. Or they can go out and do their own thing and still be affiliated with us in a certain way. So we're looking at even social media influencers that maybe were athletes and kind of developing them, or we're kind of looking at different ways, going to colleges. We actually have a couple meetings with a few universities in San Antonio to set up a program with their kinesiology department to implement this program as something that would be like an internship and something that they could go through.
For sure.
That'd be cool.
So,
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool, for sure.
Yeah. What are your challenges with you staying in shape? Because if you're doing these long days and stuff, and you're working out or showing people how to work out all the time, then how do you find that motivation to work out for yourself, or when do you even find time to work out for yourself?
I would say it's kind of like that. Part of it, you stay motivated because not you have to look a certain way, but it helps motivate you to be like, hey, I want my clients to see that this works. What I tell them to do, I'm not just hey, I'm sitting back here eating this, doing this, not ever working out, and telling you what to do. Why are you going to want to listen to somebody like that? So, and it's not even body type. I know personal trainers that are more heavier, yet they still are putting in the work and doing that. So they're still a good example to their clients. So part of it's that. Part of it's I'm just very self-motivated. And so if I don't work out in a day, I'm just not a happy person. Not every day. I'm not one of those people that's 7 days a week, but 4 to 5 days a week, I'm this is the type of workouts I want to get in. Strength training and running is real helpful for me too. So it's tough. Some days it's tough. Right now my schedule's good. I have time during the day or in between clients. Sometimes I'm somewhere in San Antonio or Austin and I'm okay, I have 45 minutes to kill. I have to go work out now. And I'll be there and I'm gosh, I hate this. But then afterwards, I'm thank God I got that workout in. So I look at my days and I'm when do I have gaps? When can I fit this in? And some days I'm I don't have any time. That's fine. That'll be an off day. So, and then in the fall, it was tough. But I would get up. That's why I was doing a lot of runs just at my house. Get up, run, come back. And my days weren't starting super early. So it started 10 or 11. So then I'd go to 8 p.m., be home at 9. So yeah, and there were times where I was all right, I'm going to the gym, and it's 8 o'clock, and I hate doing that. I'm not one of those late night gym people.
Yeah, no,
so,
same.
Yeah, I can't. I'm oh gosh, no. So those were tougher days, but I'd try and get in as much as I could because it kept me sane as well. Keeps me sane.
Definitely, just a mental break, away from everything too.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of all right. Dealing with tough clients, I'm I need to go work out now.
the family of 5.
Yeah, like all that family of 5. They're, yeah.
Do you have like a preference on like shoes or like clothing brands? Because like I see so many things out there, like Lululemon, like Athlete, like Fabletics. I don't know. There's probably so many brands. Like I don't know. Like
There's
what do you
Kevin
like?
Hart has one now, which
really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin
Or
Hart.
like Gymshark, like Gymshark too. Like
Yeah,
them,
so
them.
I like Gymshark a lot
Too.
because they're affordable, and I think
Yeah.
their stuff's just like it's good quality
Yeah.
for the price. Love Lulu, but I think Lulu's just really overpriced. But I love it. It's just, you know, you get a personal training discount, which I guess is cool. But I'll go to like the outlet sometimes, but it's like 20%. I'm like, oh great, it's 180 now. It's like 110. That's cool. That's awesome. Like whatever. But I actually am an ambassador for Free Spirit Outlet here in Austin, and
cool.
they're really cool.
Super dope.
Yeah, they keep you really connected. I get a really good discount with them, and their quality of clothing is just really good. So I've been really liking their stuff. I'm not a huge like leggings person. I actually prefer like shorts or something else, but so I'm kind of like not the best person to go to and be like, oh, what kind of leggings? Are they squat proof? Are they this proof? Are they that? And I would say some of my favorites are like Gymshark, and yeah, I know there's like Fabletics. There's like all those other
Yeah,
ones
I see them like all the time.
I have a little
don't
bit
know.
of everything. I
like,
mean,
what-
Nike. I have a couple of Nikes. Like they're really like Under Armour. I like Under Armour too.
Yeah.
I'm not like a one brand. Like some people are like they only wear like top to bottom
Yeah.
Reebok or something, and
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I have this, this, and this. But I'm more of like color coordination for the most part.
Yeah, you gotta have your
Lulu
gym
got some good
outfit.
underwear.
Gym
Yeah.
outfits. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get some Lululemon underwear.
They're expensive, but fire.
Yeah.
It's like $40 for a pair.
I know this person. I don't know if you know who Bradley Martin is. Do you know who that is?
I don't think
He's
so.
like a really like muscular kind of bodybuilding type guy. But he lives
Okay.
in LA, but he has a brand called Raw Gear, and he's about to like come out with women's clothing too, because it's
Oh,
mainly
cool.
like men's clothing and like workout equipment. So
Yeah.
I'm like curious if that's gonna be good for like the
Yeah.
women's, because like his men's clothing is really good. So that
Yeah,
might be
that'd be
something you want
cool.
to check out when
I know,
it comes
for
out.
sure. I love checking out new companies too, and just trying like through. So with the fit business, we were looking at finding brands to sponsor us. We got a couple different ones for a little bit, and some other stuff. I'm like, oh, I would have never like ordered this, but I actually really like this. Different kinds of like sports bras and shirts and things, and just like material. Like some people push, and it's really expensive. Then you get it, and you're like, I can get something like this off of like Amazon. It's just as good quality. So.
Yeah.
You know, but it's fun. I'm always willing to try different things, and you get those like, let's collab all the time.
Oh,
And things I'm
like
delete,
the
delete.
DMs, the spam
Yes, I'm
DMs.
like,
Yeah.
this is like a real company, or I'm like, what is this? Or yeah, I don't want your like.
Is
$20
that company local? The one you're an ambassador for?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in Austin.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And they're really cool because they've been building a lot, and they have some bigger names on, but also a lot of like just smaller people, and they connect really well. Like I've done several photo shoots with them, and they always have like we have like a group chat, and so it's not like annoying like, hi, there's 400 messages, but anything something new is gonna release, or like, hey, here's this. And you can make, like, if people use your code, like, you can make money off it too, which is cool.
Yeah,
So,
that's the best thing.
yeah.
I was gonna ask who were like some of your biggest inspirations, because I know like guys have like for example Matthew Frazier, like CrossFit athlete's an animal.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
beast.
Like yeah.
Freaking beast.
So I mean, like, who are some of your inspirations? I don't
Biggest
know.
inspirations. I know I'm like the worst on that because there are certain people I follow and people I'm like, oh, they're really fit in this. As far as like athletes or professional athletes go, Alex Morgan. I mean, there's a lot of women on the U.S. Women national team, like soccer team, that I'm like, yeah, they're really cool, and I like to see what they do, you know, off the field too, and how they manage. I mean, so many of them had kids, and they come back like a year later, and they're
Crazy.
like
Looking like they don't have
incredible.
kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
like,
Crazy.
Dang, yeah, they're like insane. So a lot like that. There's a lot of just like fitness people, and a big one is Taylor Dilk that I follow. I really like. I like following her because she posts workouts and stuff, but she started a clothing brand, which is called Balance Athletica, and it's in Colorado, and she just keeps like growing and growing, but she's like such a hard worker, so she's really inspirational for me, because I'm like, I like watching what she does in her company, and like really quality clothes, and she keeps like improving her quality of clothes too, which is, it's kind of a cool thing to see.
Would you ever? This is going back to what you said about the kids thing.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever work out while you're pregnant? Because there's this MMA fighter. I can't remember his name right now. Mighty Mouse. I forgot his name.
Demetrius Johnson?
Yeah, Demetrius Johnson. His wife was like 7, 8, 9 months pregnant, and his full workout. Yeah, lifting weights and everything. I was like,
I see that. I know. I see like people CrossFitting, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd do that. But
yeah, dude, there's this CrossFit.
they're like
from
doing
Australia.
snatch and stuff.
Her name's
that's
like
insane.
Cara Saunders. She's a badass, bro. She had like a 6-pack over her pregnant belly. Like, it was insane.
What? Oh my
I follow her on
God.
Instagram.
That's scary.
She's an animal,
That's
dude.
intense.
Yeah,
I
She
feel
was
like,
she was hardcore, bro. And now
Yeah.
she looks like she's ready to compete again. And it's like, how?
I know
So you
those
would work-
type of women set the bar high. I'm
you would
like,
work out
what?
while you're pregnant?
Oh yeah, no. All my friends joke. They're like, "You're gonna be that woman that's like running when you're like about to pop." I'm like, probably, but yeah, no. I mean, I think I'm gonna
it's crazy.
try for as long as I can.
I think
yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because a
I
lot of people
mean-
are like, "Oh my god, my feet hurt, my
I
back hurts, and all this and
can't,
that."
I
And you're
know.
just
Well, there's this
Other
one
one's working
lady.
out.
I think it was like going viral for a minute, but she wanted to see how fast she could run a mile. Pregnant. She was like 9 months pregnant. I'm talking like big belly, and she ran like a 5:30 something. And I'm like, I'm done.
Dang,
Like,
what?
I'm like,
I don't think I can run that now.
They say like women's actually their endurance gets better after, so they're able to do long distance running after they have kids. But I'm like, not when you're 9 months pregnant.
Oh, wow.
It's insane.
does
I'm
that
not gonna
affect the
be that
baby at all
person.
when you work out or anything?
Apparently not.
No?
Apparently not. I've worked with like postpartum, and actually I worked with a couple people like right up until like the week before they had a baby. And obviously you stay away from certain things, and a lot of it's just knowing your own body. I mean, I've never been pregnant, but that's what everybody says, and I think that's why it's kind of like if you think you can do it, you can do it, and just checking with their doctor. And then a lot of doctors like, no, it's fine, like it's cool. So.
We'll take a moment to introduce you to our sponsors. Are you into like pre-workout or BCAAs, or like what's your take on that? Because some people don't like it, and like I like them. I love it.
Yeah. I get questions
Yeah, that's
on
what I'm
this
curious.
all the time. Like some people are like, what do you take? Do you do this? Do you do this? I don't, only because I probably totally would. Like, I'm not against pre-workout. Like sometimes I'll take it occasionally. I'll have samples and I'm like, all right, let me try this. And some I'm like, oh, I really like it. Others just make me sweat really bad, and I feel like it's just super paranoid. I'm like, what was this? And I'm like, oh, that was a fat burner. Okay, that makes sense. And BCAAs are great. Like, I just don't invest in them really. I'm strictly like, I'm just super simple, like protein powder, and then I drink coffee. So I'll have coffee in the beginning of the day, and that just kind of takes me on. Sometimes I'll take or I'll go to like Buc-ee's or a convenience store and be like, oh, let me try this like Celsius or something.
Yeah, I like the Celsius.
Yeah. So, but it's totally cool. I think because when I first got out of college, I started taking like this fat burning pill and a couple like BCAAs and all this. It was like 1UP nutrition stuff. But the fat burning pill like made me like, my heart rate was like skyrocketed all the time and all this different stuff. And I just was like, like had this really like bad experience
Dude,
with it.
some of those are crazy.
They're crazy,
Yeah.
I know. And so I think after that, I was just like, no, I'm not going to take anything. And I know it wasn't the BCAAs. And I still actually have some. Last year, a company reached out and was like, try this stuff. And so occasionally I'll get stuff in the mail. Like, I like collagen, like peptides.
Yeah.
But like once I run out, I'm just real lazy. Like the only thing I'm not lazy with about like re-getting is protein powder. I have like my set protein powder, and that's it.
Who do you use for your protein powder?
PE Science.
Okay.
Yeah. I just think it tastes the best, and it mixes well with like, you can mix it in anything, and baking wise, and like I put it in oatmeal and it mixes well. So yeah.
I'm more of a I like to try to. I used to take protein, but like since I stopped playing football, I'm more of a I try to eat it. Like I try to eat all my protein, which is like hard.
That's hard.
But
yeah.
That's most people though, because they're like, I'd much rather eat my calories than drink them. You know.
So like,
it's just more enjoyable.
I'm always eating
Yeah.
like protein stuff, like meat all the time, like spinach.
I agree with that.
Natural.
I definitely agree with that, because that's why even with my protein powder, like I never make just like a standard smoothie. I put it in something else. So I'll make like cookie things in the morning with them and mix different things.
Cool.
So something more like that's hearty instead of, and I'll put like 2 scoops, so I'm like 50 grams of protein in these little like cookies.
Damn.
So yeah, I'm like, all right, well there's 50 grams of protein in for the day, and then later in the day I'll have like my other protein sources. But
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you go to sleep like pretty early? Because like sleep, I feel like I don't know. Some people are like kind of wired differently because there's been times where like I can't sleep at night. I'll wake up at like 3 or 4 in the morning and I'll just stay up. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to the gym and like I'll go like work out or something. So like I didn't know if you were like a big like I need 8 hours.
I'm so not. I'm like 3 hours, we're good.
Okay.
I'm not that extreme right now, but I've definitely like, especially. Oh my goodness, when I was playing soccer and we would get out of practice at 10, I had a client consistently at like 5:30 in the morning. So I would get home, I'd be eating dinner at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And I'd be like, all right, I'm going to take my nap and like my 2.5 hour nap, 3 hours. But I was draining. I mean, everyone would laugh because we'd have like soccer meetings. The first hour was just like meetings. And so I'd be like always the one knocked out, like always falling asleep. The minute I'd sit down and finally be like, all right, I'm chill, I would get so tired. But then at night, I'm like,
wired.
Yeah, I hate it. I
can't go to bed like early. Even if I probably could if I forced myself to get in bed, but I never do. I like my wind down time. So if I get home late, and now it's just really nice because I don't have any really early morning clients. It's been the weirdest thing. But even since like last summer, I haven't had anyone earlier than like occasionally I'll have like an 8 or a 7. So besides that one online one I had for a little bit, but. Which is weird because I'm a morning person, but I also like to stay up late, so it's very contradictory.
Yes. I know
it's
how
tough,
it is. Yeah. Do you have like any off days, or because I know like being like an entrepreneur mindset, you just always got to like be willing to work every day. So like, how do you like coordinate your off days? I guess.
Yeah. I try not to box it in too much, but I think it's really important to have rest days, as in rest from everything. And sometimes I tell myself I need to be better about that. Right now, because my schedule's not crazy full with clients all day, I don't really have like a set, all right, I'm doing nothing. But like, so on Sundays, normally I'd be like, all right, I don't train on Sundays, and I'll tell clients that, but occasionally I will. I have a client in my neighborhood or where my mom lives, so if I'm at my mom's house, she's literally like a minute away, so I'm like, yeah, I can train you on a Sunday afternoon. So it just kind of depends, but as far as like even business stuff, like I try not to. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not posting, I'm not going to do this. I kind of just go off like what I feel. If I'm super stressed out, or I'm like, all right, I'm not going to do this, or I need a day off. Like if my body's hurting or aching, I'm like, I'm not the type that's like, I have to get my workout in. Like, no, I'm going to rest. So
how do people find you?
Instagram's a big one, and I have a website too. But I get a lot of inquiries and things on Instagram, and then word of mouth. Those are my 3 go-to ways.
Yeah, word of mouth.
What are some of your hobbies you like to do when you are like decompressing and like not doing fitness stuff?
Just sit on the couch and watch TV. I mean, it's part of it, but my fiance's in music, and that was something I'm always like going to like concerts and things. Obviously, it's been hard this past year with COVID, but there's been more things opening up. So now I'm just like, oh, he's got a show here, he's got a show there. So on the weekends, I will go with him or go with the band and try to do that thing, or go by myself. I'm like, I'm not going to get there at 5 o'clock since you play at 10 p.m. So but it's something to do, and it's fun, and he plays at cool venues and places. So that's always kind of been like, that's a hobby of mine. I like music and that kind of environment. So yeah,
that's super cool.
Yep.
This one, I hate cardio, but what do you think is more important, cardio or weights, or do you think there's got to be like a perfect balance? Because like, I'm one of the people, like, I hardly do cardio. Yeah. So like, I don't know, like, how do you feel about that?
I would say I'm definitely about balance. I think it depends on your goals, and I think throwing in cardio every once in a while, or even if you're doing it once or twice a week, something is good just for heart health. Yeah. But if you're active and you're on your feet all day, if you're doing something like depending on what your job is too, I think that can be enough. Or, if you're like, hey, I like to swim, I like to, like maybe paddleboard or do other things that are kind of get your heart rate up, or I walk a lot, or, whatever it is, I think that can be enough. You don't have to get the cardio in. It depends on mindset. Some people are like cardio bunnies, and I'm like, I can't change my body, I can't do this. Well, you need to lift weights. Like, that's my thing. Like, lift weights. I'm just one of those people, like, I have to have both. So if I'm just doing cardio all the time, then I'm like, I gotta get in the weight room. Like, it's kind of essential just for my happiness and everything. I'm like, all right, no. But I can't, if I'm just doing weights, I would say I more get that itch to like I have to have some kind of endorphin release of like some sort of running. For me is probably a little bit more important, but I lift like 3 to 4 times a week, and I could lift more, but I'm one of those people like if I'm really sore, I'm not gonna just lift again.
Yeah, no.
When I used to live with Howard, he would make me do cardio. I hated it.
Really?
Yeah, I can't. We either did bike, swimming, or basketball.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But like that's
either way, I hated it.
That's variety though.
Except
I think,
for basketball.
Yeah,
Basketball's fun.
that's fun.
Basketball was fun.
That's fun.
Basketball was
And that's
fun.
what-
2 hours in there.
Exactly, and that's what I love about like playing sports and things. And now
Yeah.
I'm playing co-ed again. Like on Fridays, I'm like, yes, I don't have to like go work out. It's just like that's my thing.
That's
I
your
do on
cardio.
Fridays.
Yeah.
It's my cardio. And I'm like such a nerd. I'm like, all right, let me track my like heart rate right now. I like start the workout and I'll check it. I can keep this on during games, so I'll like check it and be like, oh, okay, my heart rate's here. And even comparing like the first week to the second week, it like dropped by 20 beats a minute. I was like, good, okay, I'm getting better.
I'd see like your track workouts, or like you'll post like your track workouts and you'll do like 10 110s. I'm like, oh my god, like I did not miss doing that at all. So
Yeah.
that's crazy that you still do that. Like,
Do you
Yeah.
sprint the
now.
110 or do you walk the other or jog the other 10?
I'll normally do like that workout was like a 110, and then I would like jog back and then a 110. That's more like an endurance thing.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, it's been tough for me to adjust, and what my coach is like, no, like this is all you're doing. I know you. He's like, don't do more. Like you're just gonna do this today, and I'm like, okay. And it's made a difference in like my performance to get quicker. So I like doing that stuff because in the back of my head, I'm like, I want to be in shape. That's always my strength, is getting on the field and being fitter than other people. So even if I'm like, I haven't played in a while, well, at least I'm fit. So, and then it's like, hey, if I have certain physical goals, like I know running and doing this kind of training helps keep that. And I love food. So I'm like, you know, this kind of helps keep my balance, keeps my metabolism up as well. And just overall, like just feels good. Like I like being on a track. It's just my favorite spot. So.
There used to be a football player that would run the 120 and then walk the 53 and then run the 120, walk the 53. Like he'll do that like 10 times.
That's insane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I couldn't
That's
do
way
that.
too much.
Yeah,
work.
like-
I
What's
could
your
not
go-to
do that.
like cheat meal? Because I'm pretty sure you're on like a pretty like decent meal plan. throughout
Well,
the
it's
week.
funny. I like said I was going to start a decent meal plan today, but I'm like,
Next time.
yeah, like next time. I don't even like to get into the whole thing of like cheat meals, because I think it's just really easy to become obsessive. But if you really have like a goal in mind, like by next month, I'm trying to lose this, you know, I would say like some of my favorite things, like I love a good steak, but that's not even a cheat meal. But like honestly, that's a good meal.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
and that's what I love about it. Like you can go out and have a steak, and it's like that's not a bad meal to have with like a side of asparagus, and like now if you're having the mashed potatoes that are loaded,
Yeah, like or like
you know,
mac and cheese.
exactly,
like all that stuff.
That's like ooh, that's the good stuff.
Dude, steak and broccoli is goated.
Yeah, really. Mexican food's always like, you know,
The
that's
best.
probably like my
Yes,
go-to,
so
like
good. So
Mexican
good.
food and a good margarita. Like that's probably
Yeah,
my
so good.
classified cheat meal.
Yeah.
Have you? Do you know who Chad Johnson is, or Chad Ochocinco? One
Yes,
of the two? Have you
yes.
heard his takes on like his diets?
No, what does he say?
He said like,
Can't believe it.
well, he like he basically he has his like so he has a podcast called I Am Athlete with it's him, Brandon Marshall, Fred Taylor, and this other guy that played in the NFL. But
Okay.
basically, they had an episode on where Cam Newton was on the episode,
Okay.
and Cam Newton was talking about he wanted to go vegan, or he is vegan, but he wants to lose 20 pounds. He's like weighing like 260. He wants to be like he's 250. He wants to be like 225 for next season. And they were just saying like, what do you eat and stuff? Because they have like a chef on the podcast, like brings in food and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And like they all like get specific meals, and like they're all getting like all these healthy meals, and then Ocho will get like a burger and fries or something. Like that's what the chef will make him.
Yeah.
And then basically he had a take, like him and Brandon Marshall got in an argument. He was like, they were saying like he's athletic because of his genes and stuff, and then he was like, no, it's just because like I work out a lot and stuff. And he was just like, and they were like, no, it's genes. And then he was like, all the people that are doctors and stuff telling you to eat this. He was like, what do they look like? And then he's like, what do we look like? And then he was like, you can eat whatever you want as long as you just work out a lot. And he was like, because he eats McDonald's like religiously, like
Bruh.
like every single day.
Literally
Like,
every single
day.
Oh my gosh.
And he basically says like science isn't real. Like, so it's like this thing on
Wow.
Twitter. It's like Ocho versus science. It's like going around on
Yeah,
Twitter. So
that's funny. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just like calories in, calories
Yeah.
out. And so, yeah, if you're expending and your resting metabolic rate is really high,
Uh-huh.
so doing those kind of workouts, high intensity things are going to help you. But if you're looking at leaning out, like my thing I just focus on is lower fat. So everything else, like I eat a good amount of carbs, and depending on the day. But if I'm like, oh, I want to lean out, then I lower my fat intake. And that's how a few years ago, and that's how I meal plan. I'll look at whoever my client is, and I'm like, all right, you're trying to lose weight. Okay, let's lower your fat intake. Or what is it right now? And I have some clients, I'm like, well, you're having like 100 grams of fat a day. And if you really want to get to this weight and look a certain way, then let's try knocking it back down to like 50 to start with. And that's what I personally experienced. You know, after college, I gained like 15 pounds. And I'm like, hey, being a personal trainer and, you know, I'm supposed to be able to help my clients get fit. And I'm like struggling myself. I'm working out like crazy. And I'm like, I understand. I'm not able to lose weight. And then I look at I would like drown my stuff in olive oil. I was like eating like 5 cinnamon rolls. But then I would like not eat, but I was working out like crazy. So I wasn't necessarily gaining weight, but I was just heavier. And then once I went on a more lower fat diet, I was able to like still keep my carbs high, still have those meals occasionally on the weekends. My metabolism was good, and then it was just like cranking for me, and it was easy. So that's always my advice. But I know everyone's different. Some people, like, everybody's different. That's why it's like when people are like, this meal plan is gonna change your life. Yeah. Like, no, it's not necessarily. And then what people say they're working out. Like I use these certain formula. It's like, how many hours a week are you working out? No, how many hours are you actually working out? Like, not you were at the gym for an hour and a half. What were you putting in the work in for how long? Yeah. Like, that's why it's good to track and use this. So then, like, the minute you start working out, you can see your heart rate, and then stop it when you're like finishing your last set. So then you can see, hey, okay, I actually burned this many calories, or I was working out for 40 minutes. Now I'm not going to say an hour and a half.
And there's like some people too who like they'll work out for like 2 hours, 3 hours in the gym, like super long periods of time. And I'm like, what were you doing for that long? And they were like, oh, I was like working out. And I used to always tell people, I was like, if you're really working out, like you should be like done in like an hour to an hour.
Well, it's like that one workout we
did.
Yeah, like
that was like super intense. We like for 45 minutes. We like didn't stop or anything. Yeah,
it's a good workout.
Yeah, it's a good workout.
And sometimes that's why I like when you have like a time restraint, because I'll be like, I'll get in there and get out, and I'm like, wow, that's a better workout than like yesterday when I had like an hour and a half to train, and I was just like, oh, I don't know, like going around not doing much. So the whole food thing, it's kind of a big debate. You're going to get so many people saying different things. And then you look at like Tom Brady eats super clean like crazy, and you look at what he looked like when he started playing versus now, and it's like, okay, well, we need vegetables all the time and do this, but I mean, it works for him. That's great. Like, I wouldn't want to live like that. Sorry. No, I'm good. Like
avocado ice cream. He drinks like that avocado tequila.
Really?
Or whatever. Yeah, like when he was like stumbling off the boat, it was like he had like avocado tequila or something like that. It's like what he was drinking. Just like, apparently it tastes good. Huh. Like apparently avocado ice cream like tastes like regular ice cream is what I've heard.
Weird.
Like it tastes like
what I've heard.
It's made from avocado.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I've had an avocado margarita that's good, but that's different.
I don't like avocado. Well, I like them, but I'm like allergic. Every time I eat them, I have like gag reflex, so I just don't eat them. Yeah,
that sucks.
Do you believe in diets?
Do I believe in diets? I don't like the term diet. I believe in like you can track, like count your macros and do all of that, but then I think it just comes down to intuitive eating. And if you're just good at portion control, you can eat whatever you want. Like you really can. And if you're not working out a lot, then you got to change maybe some of those foods. And I think having a healthy having vegetables in your diet is important. So if I'm going to eat certain things, like I make burgers a certain way, like a low-fat burgers. People are like, you're always eating this, you're eating ice cream, you're doing these things. I'm like, yeah, but I make them a certain way. Or I make pancakes, but I make them, like, I like to make really fattening foods healthier. Like, I make a good French toast that's, like, healthier. But then I'll go and have, like, the non-healthy stuff, too. But if I'm going to stay within, like, all right, these are my goals, I'm going to keep this, then I like to make foods that are going to taste good. I'm not, like, here's my chicken and rice and broccoli that I'm going to have 5 days a week. I don't do that. Like,
Cam and I and our friends had a debate yesterday. What is the best American food?
The best American food?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. I would say, is there any, like, ABCD? No, okay.
It's American food in general.
It's so broad.
Yeah, because, I don't
know how it came up, but we had a debate. It was, what's the best American food?
I would say, like, I can enjoy a really good burger, but...
Nice. I know how it came up. Josh was like, would you rather give a pizza, a chicken sandwich, wings, or a burger?
American, isn't it?
But I know,
Italian?
But I guess Italians probably make their pizza a different way, though.
Just like Chinese food here is not Chinese food. It's like American.
Okay, but that's not technically American food.
I know, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like Americanized. Like, it's like super, like, not the same.
Pizza, between pizza and burgers for me.
Yeah, I can't eat burgers.
I just said barbecue.
Barbecue?
Like brisket, rib. Like,
the thing is,
I'll take brisket or ribs over a burger any day.
I go to a barbecue restaurant, you know, you got to order, all right, here's your, here's a bit of this, and that. I eat it, and then I'm like, I'm kind of hungry still. Like, I don't know. It doesn't, like, it's either too rich for me, where I'm like, oh, it's, like, too fattening, or I feel like I'm just, like, it's not enough. Like, craving something else. But I've got a real big sweet tooth, too.
Do you eat the, what are they called? No. The smart candies.
Oh, Smart Sweets?
Smart Sweets?
Smart Sweets. No, I've never. What is that?
They're okay. It's like candy. It's like it's like
candy.
a healthier candy for you. They have like, because I love Sour Patches and like sour stuff, so they have like a sour kind. They have like peach rings.
Is that what you gave me that one day? It was like a fruit snack.
No, that was a fruit snack.
No, but it was like healthy. You were like, these are healthier for you.
No, but that was a fruit snack.
But they were healthier.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Huh.
Well, yeah, you can get it. We got them at Target, but
okay. I think I've seen them actually.
One of the influencers my girlfriend watches, like, she has a bad sweet tooth, and she started eating those. So we tried them. They're okay. I mean, I'd still choose regular candy for those, but
like,
they're you can still. It's not horrible eating. Like, I'm not ever eating that again. I would still eat them.
Yeah. Gotcha. Interesting.
So back on where you said you make, like, how you make your food, you make it healthier. Do you put like all that on your social media or anything?
I do. I have like a lot of. So I have a highlight reel that has. Well, actually, I have a bunch of them. It breaks it down. So I have like Kel's Burgers is like a thing. I did a week of like all different kinds of burgers I posted. I have like pizza. I make my own pizza, my own crust, and a lot of stuff. I'm not about like, let's spend 5 hours in the kitchen. I want things to be easy, accessible, and so like when I look at recipes, if I'm like, it's gonna be a teaspoon of xanthan this and that, I'm just like, too much. So I try and do like the less ingredients, the better, and then toppings and things like that like go off. So that's kind of how I do it. So the things that always take the bulk of, like for instance, pizza, the bulk of it's like the carbs, the amount of carbs in it. So if you're trying to, you know, and I say that in light, so if you're trying to hit your macros in a certain thing, or you're trying to be like, all right, I've already had a lot of carbs today, or I don't want to have a lot of carbs, then I make my own to where it's lighter, like a lot lighter in carbs and a lot lighter in like fats and stuff. So I use egg whites and Greek yogurt and like a different kind of like an almond flour.
Nice.
And I'll make like a pizza this big, and it'll be like 50 grams of carbs with everything.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
is it good?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's good. Like some come out better than others, but I went through a phase like that's all I did was just like make pizzas. I'm like, guys, this is obsessive. I'm like, stop.
Yeah. Since you watch TV a lot, TV shows a lot, there is a show that my girlfriend and I watch. Can't remember what it's called, but we watch the Great British Baking Show a lot.
Okay, yeah.
There is a contestant on there that has her own show now, and she does like episodes like. You can make food under 15 minutes. Like she'll show you how to make food, a certain food under like 15 minutes. Like if you're in a rush or you like don't have a lot of time to yourself or whatever the case is, you want more time. She like shows you how to make different kinds of foods in like under 15 minutes.
That's really
pretty
cool.
Yeah. So you should check it out. I don't even remember her name. It's like Nadina or Nadia or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is cool. I think people get caught up in like there's this perfect diet thing, and I think it's just like my thing is always figure out what works with you. Obviously, I don't prescribe diets, but I give meal plans. So I'm like, try this, and then I check in. I'm like, let's check in. I'm not just gonna give you a meal plan and say hope it works. Like I'll check in after 2 weeks and say, hey, how do you like this? And they'll be like, it's really hard eating this many carbs. I'm like, yeah, that's because you weren't eating carbs before at all. So yeah, you're gonna bloat more. You're gonna hold that. Let's see how week 3 goes. Let's change this. All right, let's cut a little bit of this. And so it's kind of finding that and then realizing, hey, what do you enjoy? Because whatever you're doing, I'm all about like long term. I'm not about like, let's do this for 30 days and find success. Like that's awesome. And I think you can do that. But I'm more about like transformation that's going to last a lifetime, to where it's like a switch in your brain. Like, hey, I get this now. I have a new skill set that I'm going to carry on in the kitchen, in the gym, et cetera, et cetera. Now, obviously, I still want my skill set to be able to use that and not be like, all right, see ya. But I want them to be capable enough to do, because I'm not with them 24/7. That's my thing. I'm with you 2 to 3 days a week. So what are you doing the rest of the week? You know, how are you living? How are you able to make those decisions when you go out and say, hey, instead of getting this like I normally would, let me just get that. And that's going to easily cut an instant 200 calories off. My biggest thing, too, is like teaching people to cook without using all the oils and seasonings that add an instant 300 calories to the simple meal they're making. It's like, don't use the olive oil, use the olive oil spray. You know, use spices. Like, you like spicy food, I'm like, use the spices. It enhances the flavor without adding like a pound of salt. So doing stuff like that, and they're like, oh, wow, yeah, that made me realize this, and that made me, you know. And so it's cool to see that switch, too. It's just, like, fun to train people in that way and, like, get them to understand nutrition. You can put whatever you want in your body, but understand what you're doing. So, like, you're not thinking you're eating healthy, you know. Like, I even hate that term of, like, oh, I eat healthy. It's like, okay, how do you define that, you know? That could be a whole debate, honestly.
True. Yeah.
So, like, I don't know how I feel about, like, vegan, but I guess.
I couldn't do it.
Would you ever go vegan?
I couldn't do
or,
it.
like, and how do you feel about, like, it just in general?
I think if you really go all in, you can be a vegan and still get all the nutrients you need. But I don't think people do it 100% right unless you have the access and you have the money to do it, or you have somebody planning it for you. So I think there's just a lot of nutrients, like in protein and things that you need, and especially if your goal is to build muscle mass and you're going vegan, and I don't even on a performance scale, I don't know.
That's why they got hurt.
Do you think like NFL players should be going vegan or no?
That's
Because I know of two. Cam Newton, he's going vegan.
Arian Foster
went vegan,
and once he did it, started getting hurt all the time.
I was gonna say, so my experience, I went not vegan, but I did go gluten-free at one point my senior year. And because I had talked to a lot of people, and I was like, yeah, sometimes I eat bread and I just feel really like gross and sick and kind of bloated, and it just kind of slows me down. And they're like, yeah, I went, gluten-free, and my performance is so much better. I just feel cleaner and good. And so I'm like, all right, I'll do this my senior season. So I did it, and I passed out on the field once, and then another time I was like, because I would play like all 90 minutes of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was taking like glucose like tablets at like halftime. And I remember one game I was like, I've never been so drained. Like after that, I ate like a monster. I was like, I'm so hungry. And I was still getting like carbs. The thing is, I was having like beans, I was having rice and other things. But then once I added gluten back into my diet, I just felt amazing. Like I just thought it was so weird in practice and stuff. I'm like, I think I'm just tired all the time. I'm just tired. And it felt like I was giving 150% effort, like just doing anything, like running, like bodying up on someone. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm drained. Added the gluten back into my diet, and it was like Energizer Bunny. Like I was like, let's go. Like I was fine. And so that was really interesting to see that. And then I've had food intolerances along the way too. Even 2 years ago, where I went to a doctor and I was like, why am I like having all these reactions to certain things? And he's like, I think it's all stress. So it's just weird. It's like, I don't know about going vegan. I think maybe certain people, if they thrive on it, that's great. Like do it. But I think it's kind of a dangerous thing to play with, and especially if you're in the NFL. Yeah,
that's what I like when I first heard Arian Foster went vegan. I was like, wow.
Yeah, like,
and then
it's almost like a trendy thing or something.
And then Cam Newton,
like hipster.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, why? Because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like you need your protein and I don't know.
There's ways to get protein, but then it's like, I don't know, like for me personally, like I can't have people talk about like, oh, having so much fiber in your diet is really good and all this, and like if I have too much fiber, I just like blow, like I feel like sick. It's bad for me to have too much fiber in my diet. Like people are like, you need all your fiber. So if you're not, it goes with like whatever you're eating. If you're not having something in your diet at all, then how are you getting your protein in other ways? You're just eating a bunch of like, they're like, beans has protein. Okay, it doesn't. Take a piece of like chicken or whatever and compare it to, you're gonna have to have like a freaking massive bowl of beans. Instead, you could just have like 8 ounces of chicken or 6 ounces or whatever, and you're already at like 20 to 50 grams of protein depending on the size. So it's like, you're not really getting the same amount of protein in. And then there's vegan. I know there's vegan protein. There's vegan other stuff and supplements you can take. But like you said earlier, like I'd rather take as much in like with food that you can, the nutrients, instead of having to take like, why go vegan and then be like, oh, I'm on all these different kinds of supplements and things.
You know what I can't stand? I can't stand people. My bad. I didn't mean to
No,
cut you off.
Go for it.
People who are like, "Oh yeah, this meatless burger tastes better than a regular burger." Like,
No,
that's
it
a
doesn't,
fucking
dude.
lie.
Like,
if you eat a regular burger right now,
that is such a lie.
have you had
like,
vegan wings?
No.
Before? It's like fried cauliflower or something like that.
But I hate
they're
when
good,
they
but
do
like,
that. Like,
I felt like
I can have it
it's
all
eating
like
air.
last year. So I went a month with like no meat, and I did. What else did I do? I guess it was kind of like vegan. I don't think I had any dairy either.
And that's the other thing. It's like so many things
There's
like
so
that
many.
you can't
It's one
eat.
thing to be vegetarian.
Yeah.
Like, you can be vegetarian or be pescatarian and have fish in your diet, and I get that. Like that's doable.
Yeah.
But people that are like, they're like, no, I don't do dairy. I don't do
Like,
I
no
don't do
eggs or anything?
No like animal byproduct. I'm just like, okay.
Because Jordan's brother is vegan. He's like super like shredded and cut and stuff.
bro, I
so
love eggs. I could
I don't
not
know.
give
I
up
love
eggs.
eggs.
I don't know. I'd have to talk to him
My
about
thing
it
is,
too.
I feel like you're super shredded and cut because you just cut all these
Yeah,
other things that
that
have
too.
a lot of calories in them. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
all right, you're eating lettuce all the time. Cool, get cut by just losing weight that way. Like I don't know.
It sounds like you love burgers. So like me, I love barbecues. Like I couldn't go vegan because like I love ribs too much. I love brisket, like salsa.
Yeah.
I love all that. So it's like I couldn't not eat meat.
Bro,
Yeah.
if someone told me I couldn't have a fat ass porterhouse ever again, I don't know how I'd make
It's like go to Perry's, get that pork chop. Oh.
Yeah, like
Oh,
there's
yeah,
just
the
so
pork
much
chop.
stuff.
Yeah,
like
it's
I
so
couldn't
good.
not eat meat.
I know, and that's the thing is like I love vegetables. I'm the type of person like if anything I could be a vegetarian, but I also love meat, and so I'll go to a restaurant, order like the vegetarian quesadilla because they have more of the vegetables on there. I'm like, can you add meat to that?
Yeah.
I'm like, can you add chicken or can you add steak? Like that's what I do because I like a lot of vegetables,
Yeah.
but then I don't know how people just
like a
don't.
nice steak.
Yeah, a nice
Yeah.
steak. That's like my favorite
Nice little
go-to.
filet mignon.
Man.
Come on. I couldn't
How
not
do you go to
do
like
it.
Chamagaucha or like any of those Fogo de Chao and
Exactly.
what do you eat?
Yeah.
I guess you just don't go to those places.
Go to
but
like a hibachi place and like.
could you imagine being
yeah.
like, yeah, no.
just eating the bread.
I'll just eat the
Well,
sides.
wait, could you
I mean,
even
they have
eat the
good
bread?
sides, but
I don't know. I don't know what
Vegan
know
is
what
like
a lot
any-
of people can and can't eat.
Vegan is like
whatever
anything
they
with
do.
a face, right?
it's anything.
I don't have no idea.
Yeah, that's what
I just
I-
know
that's
like
like
that.
what I-
No meat.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
anything that like comes from an animal.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep. So think about like all the things that it's insane. I
You can't
don't-
eat fish either.
No fish, no
Basically,
eggs.
No salmon.
It's like if you can
cheese.
grow
That-
it. It's
yeah.
like if you can grow it.
Like
type
cheese,
of-
I don't think you can eat. Like
Yeah.
no dairy.
They
Like
have
it all
to
comes
be-
from like a face, like any animal.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know, it's too much.
Like I love salmon too. So
Yeah.
I
Same.
I couldn't
Yeah.
not eat salmon.
I know.
Well, that'll do it for this episode of Opinionated Off Topic with our ugly co-host, Canon Theory,
Dang.
and our beautiful guest, Kelly. We'll put all of her stuff down below. Albert will do his thing over there. You know how he does it. And do you have anything for us? Any last comments or anything?
No, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having her. Look at me botching it. Thank
As
you for
always.
thank you for coming on the podcast, and definitely would like to have you on in the future at some point. So I
Sure,
appreciate you
thanks.
stopping by.
Well, that'll do it for you guys over here at Opinionated. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.